Hey everybody, this is Ryan McClanahan with HistoryThroughCards.com. Hope you're all doing very well today. This video, I want to tell you a little bit about the life and times of Pumpsie Green. And this is a 1960 Topps, and it is his rookie, and it's a card that I've been looking for forever. The thing is, he's kind of a cult hero around here. He's got a major following, and that means that his card is a little on the expensive side here in Massachusetts. But I thought this was a really great example. I'd say it's like near mint, but I just wanted a copy, and his story is really fantastic. It's really interesting, I should say. Not just fantastic that he actually made it to the majors. That he has something of a place in history, being the first black ball player on the Red Sox, who were the last major league team to actually have a black ball player on it, or integrate, I should say. The second team, second to last team to integrate was the Detroit Tigers, and the New York Yankees integrated in 1955 with Elston Howard, who really should be in the Hall of Fame for his accomplishments. Very, very solid ball player. And Pumpsie Green, he made it to the majors, and he had said later on, as an older gentleman, that he really didn't think too much about the reasons for his fame. He didn't really care that he was the first black ball player on the Red Sox. It just, he was really happy with his time on the Red Sox. And the Red Sox are really interesting when it comes to race, and they're a team that has a notoriety to them because of Pumpsie Green, or the fact that in 1945 the Boston City Council kind of like said, listen, Boston Red Sox have tryouts, or you don't play on Sundays. And the Boston City Council kind of like told them that, and the Red Sox had tryouts in 1945, and these tryouts included Jackie Robinson, a guy named Marvin Williams, or Hitter Williams, not terribly familiar with him, and then Monty Irvin and Sam Jethro. And Sam Jethro ended up on the Boston Braves in 1950, and he was the Rookie of the Year. And I highly recommend his 1950 Bowman, but actually I like his 1952 Bowman a little bit better, actually. I think it's a really great card. Then Monty Irvin, he wasn't really ready for the major leagues in 1945, just coming out of the military. He was over in Europe during World War II, and he may not have been 100%. He needed a little bit more time, and I think he even said that with the Brooklyn Dodgers too, because I think the Brooklyn Dodgers were looking at Monty Irvin at one point or another. And Jackie Robinson ended up being the first black ball player to integrate into Major League Baseball in 1946, and then he gets up to the Brooklyn Dodgers. It's a whole other story with Jackie Robinson, and initially I think Brooklyn was looking for a Cuban ball player who was very dark, and I think I want to say it was Roberto Ortiz, but I could be wrong. And that didn't really work out very well for the Dodgers, or the ball player whose name I forget. I'm sorry, guys. I am getting old. Anyway, so the Red Sox, getting back to them, they really didn't have the greatest management in the 1950s anyway, and I seem to think that even in 1938, when they had 5 future Hall of Famers through the 1940s, they probably would have won at least 2 to 3 pennants, if not more, from 1947 through, say, 1952. But they didn't choose any Negro League ball players on their team, and a lot of people say it's because they're racist. Well, I don't know about Tom Yawkey. They say that the fish rots from the head down, usually, especially in management, and that is absolutely the case. But there's nothing to pinpoint Tom Yawkey specifically as a racist. I do have other problems with Tom Yawkey, specifically that he made it into the Hall of Fame in 1976, and that Jacob Rupert had to wait until 2013 to get into the Hall of Fame. And Jacob Rupert has a lot more World Series wins than Tom Yawkey, who went to the World Series in 1946, 1967, and 1975. And he gets in the Hall of Fame before Jacob Rupert. Something doesn't smell right with that. Something's not right. A lot of people have said over the years that Tom Yawkey or somebody in his foundation or whatever who is connected to him, probably his wife Jean, sent the Hall of Fame a $10,000 check. I don't know how true that is, but when you have a guy who goes to the World Series 3 times and then gets in the Hall of Fame, and then you have Jacob Rupert who just gets in 2013, and he basically created the house that Ruth built. Something's not right there. And then you have Sam Breeden, who was the owner of the St. Louis Cardinals from 1920 to 1949, and he's responsible for at least 10 pennants, and I want to say like probably 4 or 5 World Series between that time, and he's not in the Hall of Fame. So again, I have a very big problem with Tom Yawkey, other than his racist, because I can't establish the fact that he is a racist. Um, the racism, I think, was with Joe Cronin and Eddie Collins, and definitely Pinky Higgins. And Joe Cronin, I'm not a fan of at all. I've heard a lot of really negative stories about Joe Cronin, not just as a ball player, but as a manager. And that's really hard for me to get my head around. Not a very nice guy. And he is one of the principal reasons why Pee Wee Reese ended up on the Brooklyn Dodgers, because he was a farmhand with the Red Sox, and that Joe Cronin thought that Pee Wee Reese was going to take his job. And if Joe Cronin didn't like you, you were off the team. And if he thought that you were going to present a quote unquote danger to his position, which was shortstop, then you would be transferred, sold, whatever the case may be. And then in the case of Pee Wee Reese, he had, I think it was Evans, who had written up a faulty report on Pee Wee Reese saying he was no good. So it did luck out for the Brooklyn Dodgers and in Pee Wee Reese especially, because he ended up getting in the Hall of Fame. But today what I thought I would do is tell you a little bit about Pumpsie Green and these articles I think you're going to really enjoy, and I'll catch you on the flip side. This is from the Berkshire Eagle, July 22, 1959, Pittsfield, Massachusetts. Pumpsie Green appears in Boston lineup after being recalled to replace Avila. Chicago. Elijah Pumpsie Green, 24-year-old shortstop, took the field for the Boston Red Sox Tuesday night and finished what Jackie Robinson and Larry Doby started 12 years ago. It was in 1947 that Robinson, now retired, became the first of his race ever to play with a major league team when the old Brooklyn Dodgers called him up from the minors. He subsequently became one of the National League's finest players. That same year, Cleveland of the American League summoned Larry Doby, who soon became a regular for the Indians. Since then, every team in the major leagues has had a Negro on their roster at one time or another, except the Boston Red Sox, who maintained they would call up a Negro player when they developed one of the major league caliber in the farm system. First of his race, Tuesday night, Pumpsie Green became that man when he was sent in as a pinch runner in the eighth inning of Boston's 2-1 loss to the Chicago White Sox. The Red Sox Tuesday announced the sale of veteran utility infielder Bobby Avila to the Milwaukee Braves and paved the way for Green's recall from Minneapolis of the American Association, where he was named to the League All-Star team and batted .320 in 98 games. Green chalked up another Red Sox first at spring training in Scottsdale, Arizona, when he became the first of his race ever to don a Boston uniform. But it was this and his trip back to Minneapolis after a fair spring showing that set off a controversy in Boston. That and the segregated housing allegedly provided for him by the Red Sox in Scottsdale. The Boston branch of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP, charged the Red Sox with discrimination and urged the Massachusetts Commission Against Discrimination to ensure the club. The state commission held a hearing, and Red Sox general manager Stanley R. Bucky Harris said it had never been the club's policy to deny a chance to a Negro ball player. And, said Harris, the Red Sox would call Green up from the minors if his play warranted it and the team needed him. The Red Sox subsequently were cleared of the discrimination charges. During his time with Minneapolis this year, Green rapped out 112 hits, including 16 doubles, 3 triples, and 7 homers, and batted in 31 runs. He has 11 stolen bases to his credit. He has always been known as a slick glove man. Last night, the spokesman for the NAACP in Boston said, quote, "If the Red Sox feel Pumpsie can help the team, we're all in for it," unquote. Harold L. Vaughn, publicity chairman for the Boston branch, said, "We never attempted to tell the Red Sox who should play where. All we want is that all players be given an equal chance to help the Red Sox," unquote. This is from the Dayton Daily News, July 19th, 2019. Pumpsie Green was first black player on Red Sox by Jimmy Golan. Former Boston Red Sox infielder Elijah Pumpsie Green, the first black player on the last Major League team to field one, has died. He was 85. The Red Sox spokesman confirmed the death Wednesday night, and the team observed a moment of silence before its game against the Toronto Blue Jays. Green, who was inducted into the Red Sox Hall of Fame in 2018, had been living in California. A speedy but light-hitting utility man, Green brought baseball's segregation era to an end of sorts when he took the field against the Chicago White Sox on July 21st, 1959. More than a dozen years after Jackie Robinson broke baseball's color barrier with the Brooklyn Dodgers. Green joined the team on a lengthy road trip and had played 9 games before taking the field at Fenway Park for the first time. Green said this year in an interview with Nesson, that Red Sox TV network, that he remembered receiving a standing ovation when he came to the plate batting leadoff. It was heartwarming and nerve-wracking, he told reporters in 1997 when he returned to Boston to take part in ceremonies marking the 50th anniversary of Robinson's debut. But I got lucky. I hit a triple off the left center fence. Green didn't have Hall of Fame talent like Robinson or Larry Doby, an all-star who was the first black player in the American League, The Red Sox infielder reached the majors as a role player, just once playing more than 88 games and never hitting more than 6 homers or batting better than 278. Green played parts of 4 seasons with the Red Sox before finishing his 5-year career with the New York Mets, batting 246 overall, with a total of 13 homers and 74 RBI. But his first appearance in Boston uniform ended baseball's ugliest chapter, and the fact that it took the Red Sox so long left a stain on the franchise it is still trying to erase. A few days after Green was called up, the Red Sox added Earl Wilson, a black pitcher. Green said there was an informal quota system that required teams to have an even number of black ball players so they would have someone to room with on the road. There were few blacks in the clubhouse, the offices of the Boston stands, Green said. In '97, most of the time, it was just me, he said. It was almost an oddity when you saw a black person walking around the stands. But unlike Robinson, Green said, he received no death threats. It was mostly insults, he said. So one thing that I thought was really interesting about that last article was the NAACP putting pressure on the Red Sox. Now, did they actually do that to have Pumpsie Green in the lineup? He already was in the lineup, and then I guess they took him out. But I don't know. I think Pumpsie Green would have gotten to the majors no matter if the Red Sox signed him or not. I think he was that good of a ball player. It just so happens that the Red Sox are the last team to integrate, and one thing I think the Red Sox really did very badly on, especially in the 1940s and 50s, was management. And as I said before, a fish rots from the head down, and that means Tom Yawkey, right? And it means Joe Cronin, and it means Eddie Collins. It's because Eddie Collins is a really fantastic ball player, probably one of the best. Doesn't mean that he was a good general manager. And Pinky Higgins, obviously, he was a manager. And you also had Del Baker as well. I believe he was a coach, and then he was a manager. And he did actually manage the Detroit Tigers, I think in 1940, when they went to the World Series. But if you don't have good management, it doesn't matter really who you have on that ball club. And the Red Sox had, again, 5 future Hall of Famers in 1938, 39, 1940, 42. And they went to the World Series once. And obviously the Yankees, perennial pennant winners, it seems like they really were. 1936 through 1960. So it was a really tough thing to crack into the pennant race, and they only did it once in 1946. So I still kind of think that if they had a couple of Cuban ball players on their club, or ex-Negro League ball players on their club, that they actually might have gotten maybe 2 or 3 pennants. I'm not going to say they were going to win a pennant, or I'm not going to say that they were going to win a World Series. That's a huge long shot against the Yankees. But I think they would have made it a lot closer. And then again, the Red Sox lost a one-game, a one-game playoff in 1948 against, the Boston Braves got in there in 1948, but I think it was with the Cleveland Indians. They lost that, and then I think in 1950 or 51 as well, I seem to remember they were really, really close, but they would have made it even closer, I think, had they actually have a couple of Cuban ball players or Negro League ball players to their lineup. But that would mean, too, that you'd have to get rid of a couple of ball players on the Red Sox. Johnny Pesky, he was out the door in 1952. There was a horrible trade with the Detroit Tigers in '52, which kind of like decimated their ball club, the Red Sox ball club. A really bad trade, and I think they got George Kell. And George Kell is a really nice guy. I really liked him. I like to talk to him. He was a great guy. I don't know how he was as a ball player. He was really great in 43, 44, 45. And then he edged out Ted Williams for the Triple Crown. He didn't. I'm not sure if he won a Triple Crown, but Ted Williams didn't either. So our batting title. It's been a while. It's been a while, guys. So yeah, just correct me on that if you will. And I don't mind it either. So because I don't know everything, but what I do know is that the Red Sox, when it comes to race relations, previously it was a no go. It was no good. And so Pumpsie Green here, he's got a really great story. Again, I really love this set, and I love the design of it. I was just kind of like, when I saw this, I was like, you know what? I've got to grab that. Thank you so much. And it is a fantastic looking card. And if you guys can see, the camera does not pick this card up very well, and so it is just a really fantastic image and a great card. Um, Guys, let me know what you think of Pumpsie Green and the Red Sox. If they say it is true that they are or were a heavily racist team, why is that? Tom Yawkey was a Northerner, but from what I've heard through SABR, they did a really great. Somebody did a really great article way back in the day about Kennesaw Mountain Landis being a racist, and there's nothing to say that Kennesaw Mountain Landis was a racist because he didn't include black ball players in Major League Baseball. Now, there wasn't anything saying in 1944, 1938, or 1925 that black ball players could not be included into Major League Baseball. The article from SABR said, basically, I think it was Norman Matched who wrote this article, and it's a really good one too. He said that it wasn't really the owners per se, but it was the fans, and it wasn't Kennesaw Mountain Landis. It was the fans, and Landis said, like, listen, there's nothing in writing saying it. Okay, so it's you have that, right? An unwritten rule or unwritten law. So you can't go and say, like, well, he's a racist because it says right here in this here book. Well, that's not true. But he said it was the fans, and particularly the fans in the North, which initially I had thought about this, and the Southerners back in like the 1910s, 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever. They were overt racists, even in the 1960s and 70s. They were overt racists. They would tell you to your face that they hated you because of your skin color, or because you're a Catholic, or because you're a Jew, or whatever. So they were overt about it, and the Northerners were very subtle about their racism or their bigotry. And I've noticed this being from Massachusetts, being from Boston. I still say that there are a lot of bigots around here, a lot of anti-Semites. I've noticed over the years, and I've encountered a number of them. They're not in your face, but they're very subtle. So it's the soft bigotry of low expectations, and it was always the northern cities during World War II that would have the race riots, and is because they were seeing more black people, more workers into their fields, especially on the train system, the transportation system, and in the northern cities, and that's where the race riots happened. And we had some of the worst race riots during World War II in the northern cities. So again, maybe maybe Tom Yawkey was a racist, and he was just very subtle about it. But how can you be subtle about being a racist if you don't hire any black ball players who are very deserving black ball players? To me personally, I never, I never really cared about anyone's race or their skin color or uh, their religion because again, guys, like I'm physically disabled. I don't have the luxury of caring about that stuff. I have to worry about walking and talking, and I got those two down pretty well. Trying to hold down a job and being me. So again, to each his own. But you can be a racist if you want or a bigot if you want, but it's going to catch up to you at some point. And you know, it's just, is it worth it? Because somebody has a different skin color or they practice a different religion. I'm like, you do you. And so, I kind of like try to, um, well, I treat everybody the way I want to be treated. And if you're a jerk, you're a jerk. If you're good, you're a good person. And you can't get away from being a phony forever. I am not a phony, I'll tell you that right now. You guys see me on at least 200 videos say, and I know it drives some of you guys crazy, but it is what it is. I told you guys that, like, I'm not gonna be able to change. You enjoy my videos because you enjoy the videos. I try to make them as entertaining as possible, and I am limited in what I can do. But today, guys, I thought that this would be a really great subject to cover. And again, Pumpsie Green, he is not the cheapest guy to collect around Massachusetts, but outside of Red Sox Nation, you guys probably can pick this card up for like 10-15 bucks, if that, probably less than that. And it's a great card. I really enjoy it, and the colors on these particular cards, they can fade a little bit over time, and then you can also get a lot of print streaks with these cards, and it's a little bit of a challenge, the 1960 top set. Also, guys, I would love to hear what you guys have to say about the 1960 top set, if you guys have any favorites in that set. It's not a set that I'm going to try to complete anytime soon, but I really enjoy that set, and it is a really fantastic year in 1960 for baseball, especially the World Series. So, guys, with that, I say thank you very much. I really appreciate you checking my video out, and I will talk to you in another video. Have a good one. Bye.